up guys, welcome to my channel Hairliciously. In this video today I wanted to give you guys a 15-month update on my very first hair transplant. Now for those who are new to my channel, welcome to my channel Hairliciously. I first had my FUE hair transplant back in November of 2016 in South Korea, and I had 1700 grafts implanted into the frontal portion of my hairline. Now, for those who've actually been following me for a while, you guys know that I didn't really have a severe form of hair loss. It was more of the frontal hairline where it was receded, and I was naturally born with a high forehead. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to make my forehead a little bit smaller. And so as you guys can see, this is the results after 15 months. The hairs are still there. I'm not suffering from any hair loss. A lot of the doctors that show videos of hair transplant results online aren't going to show you all the the flaws, the things that don't look good on camera, because obviously they want to advertise their clinic and they want to make you believe that they are the best doctors when it comes to hair transplantation. I am going to show you guys how it looks up close. And as you guys can see here, I've actually got some lighting kits around me to give you guys a clear view of the hairline. So here's how it looks. Let's get up close. Now, the hairline, obviously, as you guys can see, is not perfect. There are certain areas like here where the hairline isn't as dense as, like let's say like this side here. And I do know that the hairline seems to be a lot more straight than what I wanted it to be initially. But overall, I can't complain. This actually has been an improvement to my appearance. But this is the thing. A lot of people, they want to have second hair transplants to increase the density. And in my case, I'm also planning on getting one, but not anytime soon. As you guys can see, the density isn't there. A lot of you guys have pointed out that over here, the density isn't as full as, let's say, this side here. If you guys look up close, the doctor did insert some multi-hair grafts into the hairline, and normally that's not what you want to do, because if you look at somebody that's not balding, you want to implant single hair grafts. And what my doctor did was he extracted the follicles from the back of the scalp, where it tends to be a little bit thicker than the rest of the hairs, and he implanted them into the frontal hairline. I think what he should have done was use either nape hair, the hairs on the bottom of your neck, or even the hairs on the sides of your scalp, because these are a lot thinner, and I think they would actually blend in well with the frontal hairline. But here's how it looks up close. 15 months. There's really no signs of hair loss. I don't have any hair loss. It's been 15 months. And up close, there's still some gaps, which I really don't like. And if you guys look back here, that's where my original hairline used to be. So there's nothing that's indicative of, further hair loss. Here's my left temple. Now this side here looks a lot more natural than, let's say, this side here. The hairs here are still a little bit kinky. And if you guys watched my video on 5 things that I hate about my hair transplant, one of them was the fact that the hairs here are kinky. It's kind of weird because the hairs that were implanted onto my temporal triangle were from the hairs in the back of the scalp, which are straight. But for some reason, these hairs here just became very curly. Now, the hairline is obviously well established, and even back here, there's no signs of further receding. Now, a lot of people are under the misconception, if you get a hair transplant, they're like, why do you need to take minoxidil? Why do you need to take Finasteride? And just because you had a hair transplant doesn't mean that you're fully cured from hair loss or baldness. What's going to happen is the hairs, your original hairline behind here, can still recede, because these hairs are still prone to male pattern baldness. Whereas the hairs that were implanted were taken from the donor area, which for the most part should be resistant to DHT, which is the main cause for hair loss. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that just because you extract grafts from the back of the scalp that it's going to be DHT resistant, but for the most part, when you see bald people, they end up having some type of horseshoe appearance where they lose all the hair here, but they still maintain the hairs on the side of their scalp, on the back of their scalps, because those areas, for some reason, are resistant to DHT. So all the hairs that were implanted in the frontal portion, hopefully, are resistant to DHT. But here's how it looks. Now, some of you guys have also been asking me, do I still take Finasteride? What kind of vitamins do I still take? Because it's been over a year. I still do take vitamin D. I still do minoxidil or derma rolling, and that's actually been proven scientifically to regrow hair and thicken hair. So if you guys are interested, you guys can take a look at my website at hairliciously.com, and you guys can purchase the exact same derma roller that I use. I'm also taking Finasteride, 1 milligram per day. I'm actually thinking about just taking it once every other day and just see how that works, because so far there's no hair loss. In my case, I don't have any side effects, and some studies do show that even taking 0.5 milligrams versus 1 milligram isn't that much of a difference. So I'm thinking of just maybe lowering it to 0.5 milligrams, taking it daily, and see if that's going to have any effect. But as of now, I am taking 1 milligram of Finasteride, and I am still using my biotin shampoo that I got from where did I get it? From Walmart. I am also using Nizoral about once to twice a week. And as you guys can see, there's no further hair loss. See if I can show you guys the back of my scalp, which has the donor scars. So the donor scars are still there. It's always going to be there whether you do an FUT or an FUE. In my case, I feel like a lot of the donor scars are kind of scattered on the left-hand side versus, just all throughout the back of the scalp, which I would have preferred. But for some reason, my doctor just decided to just extract it from one area of the back of the scalp. So it's going to be a little bit more noticeable. But if I grow out my hair, it's not really, you can't really tell. The other option is for me to do a scalp micropigmentation, where it's kind of like a tattoo to blend in the scars and create an illusion of a full set of hair. Now, I don't think I'm going to do SMP into the frontal portion of my hairline. I think a better option, since I'm not really suffering from, like a severe form of hair loss, is to just go ahead and get a second FUE procedure later down the road, and to create a more natural looking hairline. Because as you guys can see, the hairline really isn't all too natural, but to the untrained eye, for people that don't really know too much about hair transplants, they're not going to notice anything. But for those who've actually researched and actually know what a hair transplant scalp looks like, you guys might be able to detect. But like I said, for the majority of the people in the public, they're really not going to know exactly what I've done, and they're just going to see me as somebody who just has a large forehead and is not balding. But here's one last look. So eventually, when I do get my second hair transplant, what I would like to do ideally is to maybe lower it just a little bit more, but then create an irregular hairline instead of this here, where if you guys look up close, it's almost like a line. And that's not really a natural looking hairline. If you guys look at somebody that's not balding and look at their hairline, it's more uneven and it's more staggered throughout the on the hairline. But like I said, I'm pretty content with the results that I have right now. This has really just helped me to be able to style my hair a lot better. If you're receding, you're pretty limited as far as the types of hairstyles that you guys can do. But in my case, since I already have an established hairline, I can either put it up, I can put it down, I can shave it down to like a number one, as you guys seen in some of my older videos. Right now, I'm just trying to grow it out a little bit. I'll probably get another haircut to kind of, just kind of cut the sides, because I do have thinning hair, as you guys can see on the sides. So I think for people that are actually, for people who actually have thinning hairs on the side of their scalps, it's better to just cut it short so that it doesn't make it as noticeable. But it's getting kind of long, so I should be able to cut it. But here's how my hairline looks at 15 months. Nothing's perfect. And like I said, a lot of the doctors that show the results are only going to show the good side of hair transplantation. But in this video, you guys can clearly see some of the lack of I guess, the craftsmanship of the doctors. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that all doctors are going to suck at hair transplants. It just means that, you know, nothing's really guaranteed. And even if you've actually had hair transplants or hair follicles implanted into certain areas, it's not always going to grow 100%. So I think that's what happened here. I'm pretty sure the doctor implanted hairs here, but for some reason, some of them didn't really survive as compared to this side here where it's a lot more dense. But that's just the reality of hair transplants. You're obviously going to need more than one for the most part. And, you know, it's just the nature of the beast. You just have to, you know, once you start getting into hair transplantation, you want to try to, you know, get more density. And that's something where you just have to kind of be able to balance, because you're not always going to get the perfect results. And, you know, there has to be some sacrifices, because obviously you don't want to go over your donor supply, because you also have to take into consideration of further hair loss. And I think in my case, if I were to just maybe use 700 grafts into, you know, just fill in the hairline, I think it would make it a lot more better. But here's how it looks, guys. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Feel free to subscribe, like this video, and stay tuned for more updates. I'll talk to you guys next time. Take care.